If your website has a sentence on it that uses the word help, like we help founders grow their businesses or we help women feel confident, I want you to do me a favor. Open up a new tab, pull up your homepage, and go look at it. Because that sentence right there might be the biggest reason your messaging isn't landing. And by the end of the show today, you're going to know exactly why and what to put in its place. You're listening to Ready, Fire, Aim, a podcast about wrangling the chaos of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Lacey Arant. Let's dive in. Welcome into episode 3. We are 3 episodes in, walking through the brand identity matrix, the 5 components every brand needs to be able to speak from a place of clarity. This thing's kind of flying by, huh? So in episode 1, we named the problem you actually solve. In episode 2, we got a little spicy about positioning through exclusion. And today we're getting into what I think might be the most practical episode of this entire series. So today is about the solution statement. And listen, I know solution statement might sound like a buzzy marketing term, but I want you to stay with me because what we're really talking about is the one sentence on your website, in your bio, on your sales calls that tells the right person exactly what you do and why it matters to them or should matter to them so much. This is the load bearing wall of your messaging. This isn't a piece of art you're hanging on the wall of your business. This is the thing, right? The meatiest part. Most founders don't even have one, or they have one and it's doing absolutely nothing for them. So let's fix that together today, okay? So I want to start with what a solution statement actually is. It is a one sentence statement that tells the world who you are, what you do, who you do it for, how you do it, and what changes for them when you're done. That's it. 5 parts to this, one sentence. And there is a formula to it. We use this with every single client who comes in our doors at Endeavor. And I'm going to give that to you right now. So I want you to grab your legal pad. You should have one of those handy by now. And you can use the notes on your phone if you need to, whatever works for you. But the formula is this. And as I'm telling you this formula, I want you to imagine that you're sitting in an airport, waiting at your gate for your plane to board, and the person next to you goes, "Oh, hi, hi, my name is so and so. What do you do?" And you're like, "Oh gosh, how in the world do I describe what it is that I do in a sentence or two to a person that I'm sitting next to in an airport?" I always think about that when I'm helping a client craft one of these for their businesses. Can they say this to someone that they're just meeting, that they're introducing their business to for the very first time? Okay, so let's talk about what the formula is. It is your business name plus an action verb plus your ideal client plus how you do it, and then a little connector so that ending with your best result. So, in plain language, and we're going to take this slow. So, if you missed it the first time, you're all good. Just hang with me. In plain language, this is who you are, what you do, for whom, how you do it, so that, and then what changes for them. You mean tell you one more time? Okay, it is who you are, what you do, for whom, how, so that, and what changes. So let me show you what this looks in real life. I know that when I'm listening to a podcast and I feel like I missed a note or I'm trying to write it all down, it can feel so overwhelming. And I don't want you to feel that way. We're going to take it slow. But I think it's only fair that I put my own solution statement on the table before I ask you to spend the time writing yours. So here is Endeavor's. Endeavor equips overwhelmed founders with the clarity and creativity they need to close the gap between where they are and where they're capable of being so that they can generate the impact and revenue they're actually capable of. Now, you might have listened to that and said, wow, that is a long sentence. That is okay, because I want to be clear that this is not the tagline of your business. A tagline might look like a few qualifying words underneath the name of your business to let people know what you offer. That is also a powerful line and very needed, and we'll dive into that later. But what I'm talking about right now, the solution statement, at least in our world, kind of stands in the place of your mission statement. At Endeavor, we are on mission to solve problems for our clients. And so this is a solution oriented statement that you can use to speak directly to the person that you solve a problem for. And listen, we may not get it right every time, but we try to lead with problem solving with every single person that we work with, every business that comes through our doors. Our goal is to solve a problem for them. And so I want to break this down piece by piece because every single word in this is doing a really important job. Endeavor, that's who I am. That's our business name. Equips, this is the verb. And we're going to come back to this verb in just a minute because I really feel like the verb is the most important word in the entire sentence. And I think it's the one that so many founders get wrong, but we're going to come back to that. Overwhelmed founders. Okay, so this is my ideal client. And I want you to notice what it does. It excludes people who are not founders or business owners and it also excludes maybe the founders who feel like they have it all together. It's really interesting. I'm getting these quiz results, and we'll talk about the quiz later in the episode, but I'm getting these results back. And every now and then one comes through and it's like this person's got it together. Like they know exactly who they are. And so they probably don't need to dive in really deeply to this work. And so that person, if they read the words overwhelmed founder, they're going to go, oh, that's not me. And they're just going to keep scrolling, which is exactly what we want. And so, if you remember in episode 2, we talked about positioning by exclusion. That's exactly that. Now, if someone says, oh, 100%, I'm overwhelmed, that's me, well, then the term is doing its job. So, the next part with clarity and creativity that they need to close the gap between where they are now and where they want to go, right? Where they're capable of being. That is how we do what we do. Not what I do, but that's how we do it. We use clarity and creativity. That's our method. And then so that those two words are so powerful. I want you to pay attention to this part because this is where most founders stop short. So that what? Why does our work matter? What does it mean for the client? What are they getting out of this, right? Ours is so that they can generate the impact and revenue they're actually capable of. That is the result, their transformation, the thing they're actually paying me for, which, if you remember from episode 1, the problem that we solve, right, is the entire game. Since the day that I opened this business and started working with my clients, those are the two things I wanted for everyone. I want them to feel like they are using their unique skills and gifts to create an impact, to serve their clients really well. And I want them to make a lot of money. I really care about revenue. I really care about increasing the bottom line. And so those are the two things that when we work with clients are top of mind for us all the time. And I want that to be in our solution statement so that it's front and center. Okay, so I also want to talk about the villain of the episode, and that is this one specific word, and that word is help. If your solution statement uses the word help, I want you to throw it out and start over. I am totally serious. Help is such a passive, forgettable, beige word that tells the reader really nothing about how you actually show up. We help founders grow. We help women feel confident. We help a business scale. What does that really mean? How do you help? Help doing what? You could be a therapist. You could be a coach. You could be a copywriter. The word help really tells me nothing. The verb is supposed to tell me exactly how you show up. Do you equip? Do you build? Do you move? Do you unlock? Translate, protect, sharpen. I could go on and on. I love words. My team will tell you I am a words person. But I want you to pick a verb that means something, a verb that does work. Okay. Because the second that you do, your whole sentence is going to start working a lot harder for you. And can I just tell you that I have not always gotten this right? Okay. This, one thing I can tell you is you'll come to this show and I'm never going to be afraid to share the lessons that I have learned. I hope that it will help you avoid them. But I've not always gotten it right. I've worked with agencies before who always taught me, over and over again to say who you help, always, make it clear who you help. And with one of my very first brand identity clients that I ever took on, I made that mistake. And in helping her craft her statement, I think we got it wrong the first time, I have to tell you. But I've learned so much about this over the last couple of years. And so I went back to her and I changed the verb. So she has the coolest business. She's a trichologist, which means that she can treat hair loss and scalp conditions and analyze the roots of your hair that uncovers all kinds of deficiencies and potential health issues. It's incredible. Her business is called Wellspring, and her name is Molly G. Webster. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. I'll share her website and her business and all of that in the show notes for you, especially if you're local in central Mississippi. You can come and see her. She's amazing. But what we started with was Wellspring helps health conscious women restore confidence and achieve scalp and hair vitality. Not terrible, but I want you to listen to this. Wellspring restores confidence in women facing short term hair loss and scalp conditions through expert root cause care so that they can step back into life feeling vibrant, whole, and like themselves again. I mean, come on. Same business, different verb, wildly different sentence. We went from helps to restores confidence. That is the power of a single word. And what a gift to be giving these women, right? And men. And so, right now, I want you to go and look at your website. If help is in your current solution statement or whatever is in place of it, that's your homework for the week. I want you to replace it with a verb that actually tells someone what you do. Okay, and then I want to go back to the aesthetics practice from episode 1 for just a second, because some of you might remember what we talked through and how their old line when they came to me was be beautiful inside and out, right? Like it's a generic tagline. It really wasn't doing any work for them. But the line that we landed on for them after we ran it through our formula is this: we are a concierge, non surgical aesthetics practice for women who want subtle, expert results delivered by a team that listens before it treats. And so we went through this in that first episode, but in case you missed it, I want to break this down for you one more time because this is another example of how you can apply this into your business, into your own messaging. It shares who they are, a concierge, right? Intimate, non surgical aesthetics practice. Super specific. They're not just a med spa, they're not just an aesthetics clinic, and they're concierge non surgical. Those two words do a ton of positioning work right out of the gate. And so, if you're looking for a facelift specifically, you're just going to keep scrolling, which is great. That needs to happen. They need to weed out the people looking for the surgical, fixes. But what do? They offer results. They deliver results, not just treatments, results. For whom? Women who want subtle expert results. Notice the exclusion baked in there. Women who want subtle, not the women who want dramatic, overdone treatments that make them look like a completely different person. This is subtle, natural, like themselves, but better. So that word filters for the exact patient they're looking for. And then how do they do it? Their team listens before it treats. That is the method. That's the differentiator. They care. Anyone can inject a face. Not everyone is going to listen first. Same formula, completely different industry. Both sentences do the same job. Now, I want to give you something to actually do because we said this episode was going to be a framework and a method, and it is. And so it's useless if you just close your podcast app out and you don't write down a single word. So I really want you to take the next 5 minutes after this episode is done and answer these 4 questions. Okay. So, 1, what is your business name? And what is the one verb that best describes how you show up for your clients? With one rule, you can't use help, anything but help. If you only got one verb, what would it be? 2. Ready for number 2? Okay, so who specifically is your ideal client? And what one word would they use to describe themselves on a really hard day that relates to something you can solve, right? So, like, we were talking with that aesthetics practice. We were laughing because they were saying we get so many messages on a day that our clients are sitting in the hair chair, right? Have you ever felt uglier than when you sit down in the hair chair and your hair is in that towel after having it washed? Like, if you know, you know. Have y'all seen that the meme or whatever, and it's actually a lizard looking into the mirror sitting in a hair chair instead of a person? Like, I feel that so deeply every time I get my hair done. So that is the thing. Like if I'm sitting in a hair chair and I just got my hair washed and I look in the mirror and I'm washed out and gross and miserable and I'm just begging to get to the end of the hair appointment, right? I'm thinking like I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel like myself. I could look better. I want to look better. And so I want you to think about like that is an instance where the aesthetics practice knows how their client is feeling in that moment and there's something they can do about it, right? So I want you to think about what is your ideal client feeling on their hard day when it relates to something that you can fix, right? Are they overwhelmed? Are they stuck, burned out, stretched thin? Because that word is going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And then three, how do you actually do what you do? What is your method? Do you have one? Have you ever detailed it or written it out? What is your approach, the thing that makes you different? I don't want to know what you deliver, the piece of paper, the manual, the deliverable. I want to know how you do it, what sets you apart. And then last, number four, what changes for your client when this work is done? What do they walk away with that they didn't have before? Again, not the deliverable, the change, the transformation, right? So I want you to take those four answers. And I realize this is kind of a hefty exercise, but let me tell you, this is big, deep, meaningful work. So this isn't meant to just be like a quick little, task. This is meant to be something to really dig into if it is something that could serve you and help you. And you feel like you really are missing this in your business. So I really want you to take the time to do that if you feel like you need to. And so you're going to take these four answers and I want you to try to string them together using this formula: your business name, verb, ideal client, how, so that, result. And can I just tell you, your first draft is going to be real clunky, and that's okay. The first draft of ours was, my gosh, 2 years ago. And I have to tell you, I have really wrestled with this, to be honest, for a long time. And I've had to adjust it and go back to it along the way. And it's taken a lot of rewrites and, new clarity that I've gotten over time to land on something that we feel really good about. And you might have to do that too. But I will tell you this, you cannot edit a blank page. You have to get a draft on paper before you can begin to sharpen it. So here's the thing. Once you have this sentence, once you've really nailed it as best you can right now, it's going to change everything downstream. Your website will get easier to write. Your Instagram bio should write itself. It should literally live in your bio. And then your sales calls get shorter and easier because you're not having to explain yourself from scratch every single time. Your team should be able to learn this and repeat it back to you. That is what a real, powerful solution statement does. It is so much more than a tagline. And then it becomes the thing that every other piece of your messaging is born out of. Okay, so I hope you will join me for episode 4. We are just rolling through this launch series here, but we're going to be talking about why brand strategy works for the business and not for the founder. Remember, we said this before, but if the only person who can run your business right now is you don't have a business. You have a job that is paying you in stress, and I do not want that for you. I want you out of that job. So make sure you've subscribed or that you're following the show on whatever platform you listen on. We should be on all of them. And in the meantime, if you want to speed up your process and get a personalized read on where your brand is right now, I want you to head over to endeavorbranding.com/quiz. It is a 4-minute, 15 question, super quick assessment, but it is going to give you an instant clarity score. Everything we've talked about on the show so far boils down to that, to clarity in every single part of your business. And so the quiz is going to give you ultimate clarity around your biggest gap right now. And it is the fastest diagnostic tool I can give you. It is literally going to take less than 5 minutes of your time. So go and do that. At the end, you'll have an option to book a call with me. Let's chat through what you find. I'd love to know what the light bulb moments were or what it brings up for you. It is like just the joy of my life to have these conversations. So please take advantage of that. I am so glad you were here with me today. It has been so much fun unpacking all of this, and I can promise you we are just getting started. So don't forget, if you're waiting for permission, if you're waiting for perfect, if you're waiting to feel ready, remember this: ready, fire, aim. And I'll see you next time.